समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम् वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्. So we did till verse 8 last time, and this time we are beginning with verse 9 of the third chapter. So I'll read it first. Yagnarthat karmanonyatra lokoyam karma bandhanah tadartham karma kaunteya mukta sangha samachara. So the translation is, the world is bound by action other than those performed for the sake of sacrifice. Do thou therefore, O son of Kunti, perform action for that sake, free from attachment. Now, just see, in the last verse, he had said that action is superior to inaction. Previously, he had said inaction is the highest that you can achieve. So naturally, Arjuna is confused and he is wondering that what is this? Sometimes he says action is superior, sometimes inaction is superior, sometimes he says action is superior, Gyan is superior to action. Then why are you putting me into action? Here also is the same question, that if action is superior to inaction, then why are you putting me into action? So he says that to inaction, he says, entering the field of activity, any activity that you enter, if by entering that activity you will gain more and more desires to do the same thing more and more, so then why should I do it? Most of the people misunderstand this verse, thinking that now this is a no-go situation. That means it is a helpless cycle. You do action, you get desires. You get desires, again you do more action. More action means again more desires. So how do you come out of this cycle? It is a vicious circle, isn't it? And it is a no-go situation. So that is what he is asking. But he says that when actions precipitate vasanas, Arjun is asking why and how do I enter that field of action? Because I will get into this thing. So this seems like a contradiction in terms. This doesn't seem like any solution anywhere. So it is a self-defeating technology, to say the least. That is the thing. Any intelligent person will think of it that way. Now, the last verse had said that there are four different kinds of karma that one can. He has classified the karmas that one does, and the last one that one should not do, which was Nishiddha karma. Nishiddha karma means forbidden actions. Now, leaving that aside, we come here where he says Yagnarthat karmanonyatra. That means, yes, action is superior because only through action can you lead to inaction. Very strange. See, he's saying opposite things. To our mind, he's saying opposite things. That action leads to more action, once he says, because action leads to vasanas, vasanas lead to action. So, where does it become less? But he says, how can it become less? Here is the subtlety of thought that our philosophy deals with. And that subtlety of thought is that vasanas in their maturity pressurize an individual to do action. Whereas if you fulfill those desires and act in the right spirit, then those desires are once and for all gone. They exhaust themselves. it is finished and you come out purer. Like I had given you the example of Swamiji entering a pond which was a filthy pond. He entered the pond to have a bath, and when he came out, he was covered with slimy mud. That is one action. The other action is with oil on you. When you enter any kind of water and you come out, nothing will stick to your body. So, what is that oil that you have to apply on yourself before you enter an active life? So, here, see, sorry. The world is bound by action other than those performed for the sake of sacrifice. The only thing that cannot bind you is action performed for the sake of sacrifice. Now, the word he has used in the Gita is yajna, yajnartha. That means for the purpose of sacrifice. In Arjuna's time, people only understood yajna as a havan, done to propitiate deities, and also done to gain materialistic things, as I have explained in other talks of mine, that yagnas were performed, rituals were performed for the gaining of material wealth, for the gaining of say rain, or putra or putri, or this or that, or those kind of things. So here the word yagna is misunderstood. You can never imagine Krishna telling Arjuna that you do yagna and your purpose will be fulfilled. How could he? He is asking Arjuna to act, that also in a battlefield. Remember the first chapter? Never forget the context of the first chapter, I say again and again. So here he says, the world is bound by action. It is always bound by action, and it's a cyclic thing. But those actions that are performed for the sake of sacrifice, O son of Kunti, perform those actions for the sake of yagna alone, and they will free you. And what are those actions? Now, see, the entire meaning of yagna has been given a new definition by Krishna in this chapter. Yagna over here means a communal effort by everybody, done selflessly for the benefit of the entire community. When you do some such thing, then the potentialities will reward you. It can never be that so many people are putting in effort, chipping in effort, and then no good result comes from it. It will not be. But those actions have to be selfless. They have to be for one purpose, and that is the betterment of the community, for the gain of the whole community. Because man is only one unit of society, of any group, of any association. So, when that association or group of people, when a community living in harmony, they all act together, they chip in whatever effort they can put in into that, that becomes a yajna, which Krishna has given definitions of yajna later on also in the Gita. And see, like a jnana yajna, he even uses the term jnana yajna. Now, jnana yajna is what? When there is one speaker giving gyan and all the others are making it possible for people to listen to that gyan. You know, hiring a hall, arranging chairs, tables, this, that, inviting people to come, arranging for mics and sound and light and this and that. In today's world, all that is what? Yagna effort. Collecting donations so that all this is possible, right? And inviting people to come and urging people to come and go and listen to it. Now, this yagna effort cannot be the effort of only one person. That is why it is called yagna. So, the answer to performing action without getting more vasanas is this, that everybody works in harmony, burying their differences, sacrificing their differences, and they act together as a body. So each one's effort, each one, whatever they can bring to the community in yagna, that effort, that all of it, all those yagna activities will bear fruit without generating more vasanas, because you are not doing it for yourself. You're not doing it to fulfill your desires. You are doing it for the community. Now, like, say, to give you an example, a little girl helps her mother in the house. Now she helps the mother in the house, and then later on presents a bill to her mother saying, okay, I washed the dishes, so much money. I swept and cleaned the floor, so much money. I tidied the beds, so much money. I watered the plants, so much money. And then, because she has seen her mother paying for these things to the domestic workers now, or helpers, so she presents a bill to the mother. Then mother takes the bill, okay. And then after all the work that the mother has finished in the house today, she presents a full list of the things she has done for the children of the house, for the husband, for the home, for the kitchen, for the cooking, for this, for that. She makes a whole bill. And then at the end of it, she writes no charge. Now you see, this is yajna spirit. This is to teach that young little girl that things are not done only for money, that things are not done in the family, that I do this and you pay me, and I do that and you pay me, and you do this for me, I will pay you. It's not a money transaction, it is a love transaction. So when the community, sinking their differences, all act as one body, as one family, in an effort that the whole community benefits, that is called a yagna. Now, when we have got the definition of yagna straight, or we have got a different definition of yagna, he has filled this word yagna with a newer and more dynamic meaning to the content than there was in the Vedic times. So Krishna has given this meaning of yagna, and according to Krishna, yagna means a sacrifice, sacrifice of your personal interest, sacrificing of your personal gain. That is the meaning of the word term yagna, according to Krishna. And so when he says yagnartha, yagnartha means for the sake of sacrifice. For the sacrifice, the action should be done by you with no selfish interest, no selfish desires at all. So he is advising Arjuna to engage himself not in ritualism. So, all those who understand that yagna means rituals, and Krishna is advising Arjuna that he must do rituals, just think how absurd it can be. How absurd it can get that anybody advising on a battlefield, the commander in chief of the army, would say something like this, that you perform a yagna or you perform a ritual and you will win. No, no, that is absurd to think. So anybody with right thinking will know that he is only advising that he must perform his duty and then offer that finished product to his Lord. That is the way to perform in yagna. Now, he also is trying to say that this is a system. Just understand that everything in the world gives. The sun is giving selflessly, the moon gives selflessly, the plants bear their fruits and give them to the community selflessly. The tree does not eat its own fruit, the river does not drink its own water. They are all flowing. The sun, it is their nature to give. So, when in all nature, this is the law, that it is a spirit of self sacrifice for the benefit of mankind, then how come man does not do it? How come man only acts selfishly? And he says that no, only I act only for my gain, I act only for my benefit. Hmm. It is a self dedicating activity for the blessings of all, for the service of all. Hmm. So, yagna is any social, communal, national activity, personal activity, but it is a selfless one, where the individual is ready to pour out all his energies, to pour out all his resources for common benefit. Okay, now then, see, we had that, a hasty reading of this verse, a first time reader of the Gita who's reading it on his own, because any university graduate thinks that I can read the Gita, I know how to read and write, so I will understand it on my own. I don't need a teacher to explain it to me. He commonly makes this mistake, that it is because over here, Krishna, the way he has put it, is an absolute daring revolution in Indian thought, in Indian ethos. In those days, yajna meant a ritual. But here, if you read the Gita correctly and in reference, in context with what the situation in Mahabharata was at that time, you will certainly see that the actions that are performed without doership as a sacrifice for the community is called yagna, and therefore in that action you must engage. It is very important that you engage in such action. Now Now, Krishna over here is almost like a redeemer of Hinduism, which was stuck in ritualism, which was bogged down in ritualism, and nobody knew anything else about this great grand philosophy of Vedanta that has come from the Upanishads. And Krishna has packaged that for you in the Mahabharata in a very easy to understand, easy to apply in real life way, that Krishna has given it to you. He has given a new meaning to empty words, empty phrases which had become meaningless. And to any educated person, just ritualism, pure ritualism, does not mean anything. Any intelligent man, educated person is going to ask, why should I do this? So, unless there is a meaning to it, unless somebody unravels the meaning to you, you will never indulge in rituals. Rituals have their place, but the meaning should be known before you indulge in any one of them. So, come to the next verse. सह यज्ञा प्रजा सृष्ट्वा पुरोवाच प्रजापतिः अनेन प्रशविष्यध्वमेष विध्वश्वम एष वोस्त्विष्ट कामधुक. Again, सह यज्ञः प्रजा सृष्ट्वा पुरोवाच प्रजापतिः अनेन प्रशविष्यध्वम् एष वोस्त्विष्ट कामधुक. This is a poetical expression on the signs of ecology in nature, and that nature reflects your own attitude in life. So, if man desecrates nature, nature destroys man. And it is an echo effect in nature. Whatever you give to it, you will get back. You nurture it will nurture you. Now, the Prajapati, the creator, having in the beginning of creation created mankind together with sacrifice, said, by this shall you propagate. Let this be the milk cow of your desires, Kama Dukkha. Now, Kama Dukkha, this cow was a fabled cow in the scriptures it is said belonging to Vasishtha Rishi. And they say that this cow was such that no matter what you asked of it, any desire, it would fulfill. That is why Kamaduk. So it would fulfill any desire. So it was the car. In Christianity, it is supposed to be a tree of fulfillment. So these religions have this kind of thing. Now this is symbolic only. There is no such thing as a Kamadhuka cow or a tree of fulfillment or something, but it is poetically said in that way, symbolically said in that way. So here it is the Prajapati. Prajapati is a name given to the creator. The creator is the Lord himself, nobody else. But when he acts as the creator, then he is termed as Prajapati. Okay. So, like you have two different names, the Lord and the creator. Similarly, you have it over here that Prajapati Ishwara. Prajapati Ishwara or Bhagavan. So, like here, the Prajapati creator having in the beginning of creation, what did he make? Created mankind together with sacrifice. Now, he has not created man alone. He has created man along with the spirit of sacrifice. He created the whole world in the spirit of sacrifice, isn't it? I just told you that all nature is in that pattern. So, why is man not in that pattern? Man has been given a choice and he misuses that choice to be selfish. But here, if man is going to be in that pattern, Gurudev used to say that after the creator created, he gave man an intellect as a parting gift. Now, intellect is the most important thing in a human being. If there is no intellect, he descends to an animal level. Intellect is the only thing, your discerning power, that classifies you as human, that classifies you as man. So use that intellect wisely. It is a very, very subtle instrument. Call it a gadget if you like. But the thing is that it is so subtle, if unless and until you know the right way of using it, it will destroy you. You can destroy yourself with it. Like a very powerful gun, very intricate gun. If you do not know the entire rig of using a gun, how to clean it, how to load it, how to aim it, how to shoot it, you may meet with an accident. Similarly, over here, uh, see, he says that by this you shall propagate. Propagate means you will prosper. That means you will prosper through sacrifice. He has made that as a condition, that you have got to act selflessly for the benefit of all. Only then will you progress. And you have to respect the spirit of nature. You have to respect the spirit of collective endeavor. And just like in nature, Vayu gives you air, you get water, from trees you get something else, from sunlight you get nourishment for yourself, for the plants you get light, from the moon you get some other things, from the earth you get so many things. So what is this? Aren't they all givers? They are all givers. And so should man be, because he said that he created mankind together with sacrifice and said that by this you shall propagate. So if you act in the spirit of sacrifice, you will progress. And this sacrifice itself will become the milch cow to give you. Now, see, it is all in nature. There is a spirit of motherly love. It is a spirit of giving. And there is no trace of attachment or selfishness anywhere in nature. Nothing in nature takes from you, it only gives. So, why shouldn't man give? He has said that man, when he gives, then he is the only one that when he gets together and puts in effort selflessly, he can produce miracles. And from nature, just like you can milk a cow, similarly, from nature, he can milk benefits if there is a united endeavor. Now, then, after the creator resigned his job, then what happened? He said that all yajna activities for harmonious growth and existence have to be undertaken, even a family. Even a family is a united front, right? The father has some job, the mother has some other job, right? The children also help out in the family, the grandparents also help out in the family. So the family is a sacred unit of comprehensive effort that the family puts in. And when all of them put in their effort, they are all hands down in the family, then the family progresses. It is a beautiful progress that the family, but if there is only one person working and that person is also working only for his private gains, then he better not have a family. I happen to know a foreign diplomat, and he used to earn a lot, but he was a bachelor. So I once asked him, I said, and he was about 37, 38 years old at that time. I asked him, I said, why aren't you married? So he said, why should I marry? I earn for myself. Why should I give it to somebody else? Now, see this spirit? This is a totally selfish spirit. And in this kind of spirit, nobody else will give to him either. There has to be mutual cooperation. There has to be a give and take in nature, and from nature to human beings, and from human beings to nature. And that is the reason why in many ancient religions there was a worship of nature. We all know nature worship. The Greeks used to worship nature. They had gods and goddesses for nature. Latin, gods and goddesses for nature and everything. Egyptians, Sumerians, hmm? Hindus and Indians, of course. So it was always, why did we worship nature? It is in a spirit of thankfulness. It is in a spirit of mutual respect, of give and take. Even asking forgiveness, even today in India, if you go to the forests, you will see when a villager cuts a tree, you know, either to make furniture or for fuel in his house, he asks forgiveness from the tree. He prays to the tree. He bows to the tree before he cuts the tree. And along with that, in our ancient texts, it is written that if you cut one tree, you are supposed to plant 10 more. Then you have not committed a sin. See, you have used the wood of that tree, but you have given to society 10 more trees. You have given to the forest 10 more trees. So, like that. So, this is it. Now, see, come to the next verse. And he says, but how can this sacrifice be achieved? Now, Devan bhavayatanena te deva bhavayantu vaha parasparam bhavayantah shreyah paramavapsyatha. So this is a poetic idea, but you must understand this idea very well, that Deva is a giving potential. Anything that has got a potential to give is called Deva. Now, when you say, okay, but there are so many Devis and Devtas in Hinduism, there are so many Devis and Devtas, okay, gods and goddesses you translate in English, amongst the Greeks, there were so many amongst the Romans, there were so many in so many ancient religions, right? So how come that they were personified? They were personified, ideas are also personified, nature is also personified. Haven't you heard of Bharat Mata? That is the might of a nation. classified together as Bharat Mata. You give her the form of a woman because Ma, when you're calling her mother, so then you give her the form of a mother. Britannia, huh? Britannia rules the waves. Britannia, so Britannia was a womanly, but a woman representing Britain. So like that. So ideas also take the form, a solid form, a tangible form, which you and I can relate to or we can understand, because abstract is abstract. So over here, Devan, the Devan bhavayatanena, te deva bhavayantuvaha, parasparam bhavayantah, shreyah paramavapsyatha. It translates into English as, with this do you nourish the gods. That means with sacrifice. With sacrifice and effort, sacrificial effort, let me put it. So, with this sacrificial effort, you nourish the gods. Gods, which gods? You know, these potential givers. We will come to it just now. And may those devas nourish you. Thus, nourishing one another, you shall attain the highest goal. See, if you have respect for nature, as I just said, nature will respect you. If you nourish nature, nature will nourish you. If you feed nature, nature will feed you. For any crop, you have to give very good manure. You have to till the soil. You have to give it seed. You have to give it water. You have to give it sunlight. Now, when you are doing all this, what are you doing? Sacrificing in a yagna, in a havan. आप आहुति दे रहे हैं. In Hindi it is called ahuti. Ahuti means what are you pouring into it, and the more you pour into it, the better result you will get, isn't it? Nature gifts you profusely when you gift her profusely. So barren land, if you have not put any manure in it, no water in it, no perfect seed in it, it can give you nothing. So here it is that the giving potential is called Deva. I always take it from the word Dena. आप देते हैं ना, देना. So Deva is Dena. Anything that has got a potential to give or to gift is called Deva. Anything that nourishes you is called Deva. So all the natural forces that in cooperative effort nourish you, they can be, see, the Lord of rain, fire, wind, we have them all, don't we? Pavan Devta, Vayu Devta, you have Surya Devta, Chandra Devta, Agni Devta. All these are givers when you use them correctly. You use them wisely, then they are all giving unto you. And so that is how he says, you nourish one another. Parasparam bhavayantaha. Paraspar, apas mein, one to another, you give, and that is extremely good. Now, when you learn to live in this kind of mutual concern for each other, mutual care for each other, mutual love for each other, the elemental forces harmonize. And they are all, science calls them universal law. Okay, that you put a seed in the earth, you nourish the earth with water, with manure, with sunlight, it will sprout and it will give you a plant that nourishes you. So science calls it, Gurudev used to say in their arrogance, they call it universal law. We call it, in religion, you generally say, the Lord gave us the seed, the Lord gave us fruit, the Lord gave us this. That is said with love in religion, in religious languages. Now, in science, they discover something. Whatever they discover, there are so many discoveries when you are doing science, you read about, isn't it? This discovery, that discovery, that discovery. Okay, man has discovered. And then he is very arrogant. See, I discovered this. I invented this. When you discover something, please ask who put it there. Somebody has put it there. You only discovered it. When you invent something, where did you get the material from? The invention you have done, yes, with your intellect, with your brains, used it correctly, but you have used material only from the world, right? There's a very interesting episode that there was a scientist and God. So the scientist said, "What God? I can create anything that you have created. Science is so advanced, I can make anything at all that you have made." So he said, "Let's have a competition." God said, "All right." So he said, "You begin first." So the scientist said, "Let's make a very, very elementary thing first. Let's make a pot." So God said, "Yeah, come on. So you make the pot first." So the scientist said, "All right." So he picked up mud and water and started molding them, mixing them and molding them. So the Lord said, "Hold it first. The mud I made, the water I made. You first make your own mud and you make your own water before you can create a pot." So there the competition ended. So it is only all these natural forces created by the Lord. That is why we say, you call them universal laws, we call them the Lord gave. Like that. See, Gurudev used to give a very interesting example. I'll give that example. There was a 5-year-old boy, and he came back from school running one day, and he was hungry. He opened the fridge and there were beautiful, lovely sandwiches kept there, and he picked them up, and there was a glass of milk already kept. So he had that glass of milk, and he had all those fruits and sandwiches. Then he ran. One day it happened, second day, third day, fourth day, every day the same thing. So then he ran to his daddy and he said, "Daddy, daddy, I've discovered something. We don't need mummy anymore. We keep thinking, na, mummy has to do this and mummy is doing that. Without mummy, what will we do? We don't need her. All you have to do is open the fridge. And when you open the fridge, you will get ready-made sandwiches and ready-made glass of milk and ready-made everything." So we are all like that little child, where we think that we can gain anything. But who put that thing there? That is what we don't ask. It is such a simple example, but such a beautiful example of understanding that without the Lord putting these things there, the seed, the plant, the tree, the earth, the water, the sun, the moon, the wind, the air, you can do nothing. So here it is, this. And that is the reason why all productive potentials were, see, all these productive potentials were given names of gods and goddesses because the early man understood their contribution to human being, and the early man worshipped them and nourished them. So in every religion and everything, see, as I have told you, we have Indra Devata, the god of rain. We have Vayu Devata, Vayu, air, we can't do without it. Okay. Agni Devata, you have Lakshmi, the goddess of wealth. You have Surya Devata, Chandra Devata. Even without these two, you will die. Similarly, amongst the Greeks, you have Oceanus. Oceanus, the lord of the sea, from which the word ocean has come. You have Hygeia. Hygeia is the goddess of health, from which the word hygiene has come. Hygeia. Okay. Then you have Faunus. Faunus is the lord of the forest, from which, plants, trees, fruit bearing, herbs, and everything. So, Faunus. Okay. You have Nike. Nike, not these shoes. They have just named their shoes, sports shoes, Nike, because Nike is the goddess of victory in the Greek mythology. Goddess of victory. They used to have their sports. They used to have a lot of sports. So, goddess of victory was called Nike. And today you have these sports shoes, the brand called Nike, right? In the Roman terminology, they have Victoria as the goddess of victory. She's also a woman, Victoria, right? And so, like that, there are many I can quote, so many. Helios was sun, Apollo, sun again. So all these, Apollo comes with his chariot, and then he rides across the world and goes down back again. You have statues of Apollo riding a chariot. So the sun comes, people thought, okay, this is Apollo going and going down. So they had only, this is called personalization. It is creating a human being out of a potential. Now you will say, why all these different things are created like this? It is like this, that dekho, you are the same woman. All these are potentialities of the Lord himself. There is only one Lord. These are only potentialities, devas. Now, when the Lord is acting as air, he is called Vayu. When he is acting as rain, he is called Indra. Like that. When he is acting as fire, he is called Agni. Just like you. When you are acting as a partner to your husband, you are a wife. You are called a wife and you have a different role. When you are acting as a mother to your child, you are called a mother and your role is different. The same woman is acting as a sister, the same woman is acting as a daughter, the same woman is acting as a housewife, and the same woman is acting like a business corporate officer, isn't it? But the woman is the same. In every different field, her name is different, her role is different, and her potentialities are different. Got it? So this thing is, these different Devi Devtas are the Devas that he talks about over here. See, Devan Bhavayat, this. So these are the Devis and Devatas. These are all natural phenomena. They impersonated as Devis and Devatas. They are the mighty powers of the universe, which man has been gifted by the Lord. They are potentialities. When you tap them, they will bear fruit. So you have to tap the right potentiality for the kind of result you are seeking, right? If you want air, then you cannot be going to the river. The river does not have the potentiality to give you air. This is same like if you have a business interest and you want to do trade, you go to the commerce ministry, right? And meet the potential power there, that is the secretary of the ministry. But you do not at that time go to the defense ministry. You have to go to the right place and invoke the powers of that potential giver to grant you what you are seeking. And therefore all these powers of the Lord were impersonated into gods and goddesses, which were called Devis and Devatas, and which were the givers to man, if man nicely and properly invoked their productive potential. This productive potential is dormant in these powers. But if you correctly contact them, if you correctly nurture them, if you correctly generate power from them, that is called invoking power in a yajna or havan. So the metaphor, the sustained metaphor continues, that you are offering to them and they are offering back to you, and that is how you progress. So this much for today, and next time We will do verse number 12. So this is actually the universal laws of the world, the give and take. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.